The Grand Regency Hotel, a palace of polished marble and shimmering chandeliers, was a world away from Sam Thompson's quiet cattle ranch. As luxury cars purred to the curb, depositing guests draped in silks and jewels, a humble Uber pulled up. Out stepped Sam, a man of 54, his face weathered by the sun, dressed in a simple plaid shirt, worn jeans, and a cowboy hat. He carried a single, old leather suitcase. He pushed through the revolving doors, his boots silent on the plush carpet of the opulent lobby. Instantly he felt a pair of eyes on him, sharp and disdainful. Richard Morrison, the hotel manager, glided out from behind his desk. His grey suit was immaculate, his hair slicked back, and his expression was one of pure disgust. Sam, unfazed, approached the front desk with a calm, dignified smile. "Good afternoon," Sam said, his voice steady. "I'd like a room for 3 nights, please." Richard scanned Sam from head to toe, a smirk playing on his lips. "Certainly, sir," he began, his tone dripping with false politeness. He gestured vaguely towards a brochure. "Our suites start at $700 per night, perhaps a bit rich for your profile." He paused, letting the insult hang in the air. The kind young receptionist, Claire, looked down, embarrassed by her boss's rudeness. Sam's smile didn't waver. He simply waited. Richard, enjoying the attention from the wealthy guests now watching the scene unfold, decided to escalate the humiliation. He clapped his hands together, drawing everyone's focus. "All right, folks, let's have a little fun," he announced, his voice booming across the lobby. He pointed a manicured finger at Sam. "I'll make you a deal, cowboy. You look like you've had a long journey. If you can pull out $200 in cash right now for our most basic room, I will personally give you the presidential suite for free for all 3 nights. A wave of shocked murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some guests looked on with cruel amusement, while others cringed at the manager's blatant cruelty. Richard laughed, confident Sam would be unable to produce the cash and would have to leave in shame. He leaned forward, whispering conspiratorially, "So, what will it be? Can you handle the bet?" Sam simply looked him in the eye, his gaze unwavering. "I accept," he said, his voice clear and firm. A hush fell over the lobby. All eyes were on the humble rancher. Sam calmly walked over to a velvet sofa, placed his old leather suitcase on the coffee table, and clicked open the worn brass latches. The anticipation was thick enough to cut with a knife. Richard stood with his arms crossed, a smug grin plastered on his face, ready for his victory. Inside the suitcase, nestled amongst some folded clothes, was a simple brown envelope. Sam lifted it out, and with methodical slowness began counting out crisp $100 bills. 1, 2. The guests gasped. He walked back to the counter and placed the $200 neatly in front of the manager. "Counted exactly," Sam said quietly. Richard's grin vanished. He picked up the bills as if they were contaminated, his hands trembling slightly. He stared at Sam, his mind racing. Where did a man like you get this kind of money?" he stammered, his suspicion warring with his shock. Sam replied calmly, "I'm a cattle rancher. I'm in town for the annual breeding bull auction. Some of those animals go for hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions." Richard's face went pale. He was losing control of the situation. This is unbelievable," he muttered. Sam then asked, "May I use your phone? I need to make a quick call to my accountant to confirm my expense limits for the trip." Sensing a chance to expose a fraud, Richard eagerly agreed, pointing to the desk phone. "By all means," he said. "Please put it on speaker for all of us to hear." Sam dialed the number. A professional voice answered on the other end. "Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson. How can I help you?" Sam replied, "Just checking in, John. What's my budget reserve looking like for this auction?" The accountant's voice was crystal clear on the speakerphone. "Sir, You have a considerable budget reserve, and remember, all expenses for this trip, including accommodation, are to be placed on the corporate card. There's no limit." Richard looked like he'd seen a ghost. To drive the point home, Sam pulled out a folded bank statement from his wallet and slid it across the counter. The numbers were undeniable. A 7-digit balance, with recent transfers that made Richard's annual salary look like pocket change. "This has to be fake!" Richard shrieked, his desperation growing. "It's all a trick." Sam simply offered his banker's business card. "Feel free to call and verify." Just then the hotel doors opened again, and an elegantly dressed man in a fine Italian suit entered. His face lit up when he saw Sam. "Sam Thompson! My goodness, it's been too long!" He strode over and embraced Sam in a warm hug. It was Dr. Henry Wallace, a renowned businessman and a regular high-profile guest at the hotel. "Henry, what a surprise!" Sam chuckled. "How's the investment world treating you?" Richard watched in horror as the two old friends chatted warmly about business and ranching. Before he could process this, another man in a sharp suit rushed into the lobby, spotting Sam immediately. "Mr. Thompson, Mark Davis from the auction house. I'm so glad I caught you. We've already received several advance offers, one nearing $1 million, for the breeding stock you expressed interest in." At this, Richard staggered backward, clutching the counter for support. He looked as if he might faint. Sam let the chaos settle for a moment. Then he reached back into his old leather suitcase and pulled out one final item, a thick, official-looking document bound in a leather folder. He handed it to his friend, Dr. Wallace. "Henry," he said, "would you mind reading the title of this document aloud for everyone?" Henry, looking puzzled, opened the folder. He blinked, read it again, and then his jaw dropped. He looked from the paper to Sam, and then to the stunned crowd. His voice boomed with astonishment as he read, "Property deed owner Samuel Thompson. Property, the Grand Regency Hotel and associated lands." A collective gasp exploded through the lobby. Guests screamed in shock. Richard's face contorted in pure terror. He had just publicly humiliated, belittled, and tried to swindle the man who owned the very ground he was standing on. Sam looked at the trembling manager, his expression not of anger but of disappointment. "I bought this place 3 years ago," Sam said calmly. "I review the performance reports every single month. Funny, they never mentioned a manager who judges guests by their clothes." The reality crashed down on Richard. The fake, glowing reports he'd been sending them to the man he just tried to cheat out of $200. He fell to his knees, babbling, "Mr. Thompson, please, I'm so sorry. I'll do anything. Please don't fire me." Sam looked down at him. "Firing you is the easy way out," he said. "Instead, you're being transferred to my ranch. You'll work as an assistant, mucking out stables and learning what real hard work is. You will learn humility and respect. In 1 year, if you've changed, we'll talk about your future." He then turned to the kind receptionist. "Claire, you're the new manager. Your first directive is to implement a new policy. Every single guest is to be treated with dignity and respect, regardless of what they wear or where they come from." The staff and many guests broke into applause. Sam picked up his hat, placed it on his head, and walked toward the elevator to his presidential suite. As the doors closed, his final words echoed in the lobby. "Never judge a person by their appearance. True wealth is, and always will be, character." Thank you for watching. Remember to like this video and follow our channel for more stories that inspire.